Good morning, fellow Ghanaians. So this week, a video surfaced online that shook the conscience of this country. It shook mine, and I sure do hope that you felt the same anger too. A man violently assaulting a woman who we now know or understand to be his wife. It was brutal, it was sickening, and it was a reminder of a reality too many women in this country live every single day. The man in the video has since been arrested and remanded into custody. And that is welcome news. But we do not have to pretend that this was some swift response or routine policing. It was not. It was the power of public outrage, the power of a viral video, the power of evidence that no one could simply sweep under the carpet. That video saved a life. And that person who recorded it, whether deliberately or instinctively, may have saved many more because they forced an entire system to act. In a subsequent very heartbreaking interview that the victim has since granted, she reveals that she's been reporting the abuse to the local police for so long, yet no real action was taken. This is the part of the story that should trouble all of us. Because while we cannot generalize about the entire police service, we must acknowledge the painful truth that countless women across the country are walking into police stations, battered, shaken, terrified, and ready to seek help, only to be dismissed, discouraged, and ridiculed, or told to go home and settle the matter. It is a deadly culture of silence, this institutional neglect, that feeds the cycle of abuse and emboldens so many violent men. So, fellow Ghanaians, when a woman has to nearly die before anyone acts, that system has failed, and it keeps failing. Domestic violence in Ghana is not rare, it is rampant. And most cases never make it to the news because there is no viral video, no witness bold enough to record, and no neighbor willing to speak out, no family member ready to intervene. Many women die quietly, many endure a lifetime of injuries, many suffer psychological trauma that reshapes their entire existence, and many children, small innocent children, growing up watching these horrors and internalizing them as normal. Fellow Ghanaians, violence reproduces itself. It grows when we ignore it. It thrives when we excuse it. And then it becomes a culture, I should say, when we accept it. Fellow Ghanaians, we must say this clearly and loudly enough, that violence against women is not a private matter. It is not a marital issue. It is not some family matter to be discussed. It is not a misunderstanding. It is a crime. It is an attack on human dignity. It is a threat to our national well-being. And we must begin to confront it. It must be treated with all the seriousness that it deserves. Every woman in this country deserves safety in their own home. Every woman deserves the assurance that if she reports abuses, the wheels of justice will turn immediately, not only when some video emerges. This is why the leadership of the Ghana Police Service must investigate the claims that have been made by this woman. Because if it is true that she's repeatedly reported the abuse to police and was ignored, and that officers in that station have failed in their duty and must face consequences. We cannot have a police service that springs only into action when social media erupts. Justice cannot depend on whether or not someone has a camera ready to record. The response to gender-based violence must be systemic, consistent, reliable, and swift. The police must strengthen and properly resource the domestic violence and victim support unit. In every district, officers must be to recognize the signs of abuse, to treat victims with respect, and to understand the urgency involved in these matters. No woman should be sent home to try again with a man who has already beaten her and broken the bones. And no woman should be blamed for, quote, provoking the abuser. No woman should be told to pray, to endure, or to keep quiet for the sake of their family. Because silence kills. And society too must do better. We must stop protecting violent men because they are family. We must stop telling women to stay because of the children, when staying may be the reason they become children without a mother. We must stop romanticizing suffering in marriage as a badge of honor. Relationships are not prisons. They are not torture chambers. And they are not death sentences. If a woman wants to leave a violent home, we must support her, not shame her. The law must also take a much firmer stance than we see. We cannot continue to hand out light sentences for men who consistently terrorize their partners. Violence that is repeated deliberately and these life-threatening issues must attract real deterrent punishment. Fellow Ghanaians, if we want to change culture, we must start by changing the consequences. Violent men must be removed from society entirely until they understand that their anger is not an excuse to destroy the life of another human being. So to all women listening this morning, you are not alone. Your pain is not invisible, and you do not have to die inside someone else's home to prove loyalty or endurance. We encourage you to speak out, seek help, keep records, and do not stop in on the doors of justice until someone listens. And if those doors remain shut, let the nation hear your voice. The day we normalize standing up for abused women is the day we will save thousands of lives. And to men, you have to listen. Masculinity is not violence. It is not domination. It is not control. A real man protects. He listens and then respects. And if you know a friend or relative abusing a woman, your silence makes you complicit. You need to step in. You need to intervene. You need to report. You may be the difference between life and death. Fellow Ghanaians, we must build a society where women do not need a viral video before their cries matter. We must build a system where reporting to the police is enough. We must build a Ghana where kindness, justice, and dignity are not privileges, but rights. Fellow Ghanaians, that woman's story, we should all hope, becomes a turning point. A turning point to push so many into action. Our domestic violence laws must work. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection must do more. And this story must not just be one of the news we report and move on after a week or two. It must be a story that pushes all of us into collective action. Good morning, fellow Ghanaians.